It was awkward.
It was so awkward. She was just like, hi, hi. And she kept touching her like,
Yeah.
oh, you're on my side, aren't you? I
Yeah, yeah,
mean, you and I, we're
that's
just
what they're
like,
trying to show. Yeah, we're totally fine. Like Hollywood loves us. So
hi, and welcome to Flaa Talk. I'm Kjersti Flaa, and here on my channel, I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood and working as an entertainment reporter. Today, I have a really cool guest with me, someone I've talked about here on my show before. I found her on Instagram, and I love her coverage of this drama. And as you know, yesterday, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds showed up at SNL at their 50th anniversary, and he cracked a joke that we're going to talk about.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds.
Hi.
Hey, hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
We're also going to discuss these new allegations that's been out there that no media outlet has covered yet, but they've been sent around to different creators who some of them believe that they're actually true. We are going to tell you why they're not. So there are basically three allegations that someone is claiming that was sent to HR at Sony, and that Justin Baldoni had been inappropriate with three actresses on the set of It Ends With Us. Also, I wanted to mention the woman I spoke about on my show yesterday, the forensic clinical psychologist who now took down the post where she talked about me going up to Blake Lively and touching her stomach, something she just made up and made it her truth for her 230,000 followers. So after I posted my video yesterday, I guess some of you guys went onto her Instagram and told her the truth, and now the post is gone. Someone told me that she had said that it was removed from Instagram and TikTok, not by herself. So maybe someone reported it as misinformation. She also changed her intro or her bio on Instagram from yesterday, because yesterday she said she was a psychologist, and today she said something different. So now this is just satire. So this is why we shouldn't believe anything she says from now on. I don't get it, but these kind of people needs to be called out, and I'm so glad that she was called out on this, because letting people spread misinformation like this is terrible. Anyways, my guest today is Stephanie, Steph with the Deeds on Instagram. I will leave links below so you can follow her. She's super cool, and she's been so good at doing research on different things that I haven't covered here on my channel yet. So listen to her and follow her. She's amazing. So yes, here's Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie, and thank you for joining Flaa Talk. I've been looking at your videos on Instagram. They keep popping up in my feed, and I'm like, yeah, this girl gets it.
thanks
So,
for having me.
yeah, I'm so grateful that you're here. And then, of course, I was looking at your update on what happened yesterday on SNL, and I thought we have to talk about this.
Yes.
Okay, what is your opinion about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds showing up to SNL like everything's fine?
Honestly, so when I saw it, I was like, oh, wow. I mean, because from what we've been told from Blake's lawyers, she's distraught, she's at home, whatever. But them showing up, I honestly just feel like is kind of part of their PR tactic. I do find it really interesting that I know some people had gotten what are they called? The HR complaints earlier in the week. The person that sent them to me was like another creator. She was a larger creator, but she sent them to me in a way where she was like this is the truth, like trying to convince me and whatnot. When I saw them, I was kind of like, this is really weird. And then like they started coming out that day, so everyone's talking about them. And then just a few hours later, they're at SNL, and I'm like, this is a little fishy. I'm just saying, but I think they thought maybe the HR complaints would benefit them, but I don't think that really worked.
No.
Just because it seemed, I mean, the names are redacted, the dates are redacted. Like, who's going to sit and believe this? I mean, not many people, obviously.
Yeah, we need to update people who hasn't seen these HR complaints. We'll talk about them a little bit later, but that's just another kind of insanity that
Yeah.
I didn't receive any of them, by the way. We have to talk about that.
Yeah.
But so then they show up very glamorous at the red carpet, and
I just really was like, so I had talked about this before where, so Scarlett Johansson, who is Ryan Reynolds' ex-wife, her husband, current husband, Colin Jost, works for SNL. So that's like his place of work. I'm like, oh, this is really interesting that this is their first red carpet appearance together after the lawsuit. And I don't think either one of them hosted SNL. I'm really not
no,
sure. Oh,
no,
so
they
that's the
haven't.
weird thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's interesting. And then a few weeks back, Colin had made a joke about the intimacy coordinator because he does the pop culture Jeopardy or whatnot. And I was like, when I first saw that a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, Ryan Reynolds would be so pissed if he sees this. And I feel
Is
like
that
Ryan,
a part? Sorry, but was the Jeopardy? Is that that's not a part of SNL? That's a different show, right?
yeah, that's a different show, but it's like
Because
under
yeah, because they
SNL.
never made fun of Ryan Reynolds or Blake Lively on
No, no.
SNL. Yeah.
So not at all. Like, so I'm not that I've seen, I don't watch every SNL, so I'm really not sure. But anyways, I was like, I feel like that's why Brian wanted to come and make a joke, which I did not think I don't think it's funny. Like he's making a joke about the situation when they're like, oh, like, how are you doing? He's like, whoa, what have you heard? And it's just like, this is supposed to be your wife who has filed sexual harassment allegations. This isn't a joke. Like I'm very confused as to where this is going. I just felt like it was all a PR tactic, maybe to show like Hollywood is on their side. Like that's what they're trying. Like they're invited to SNL, and I can't help but think in my head, like if Justin Baldoni showed up there and was making jokes about the current like situation, people would go at him. The media would even go at him. But why, when it's Blake and Ryan, it's all hunky dory? As what that's what the media is trying to portray, you know? Because there were some people that were watching Ryan Reynolds, and I felt like their faces were like, "This isn't funny."
I
What are you
feel
doing?
you didn't. I was looking this morning again on the clip, and I saw no one was smiling with their teeth except Blake Lively. She
Yeah,
was just like, I've never seen anyone smile as much. There's not one photo or video clip of from that night where she's just not like,
yeah.
ah.
She's so happy. And she's wearing her florals still, looks like on her dress. I'm like, gosh, she's really pushing these florals. She really loves them.
And then did you see the short video where she was saying hello to Amy Schumer?
Yeah, it was awkward.
It was so awkward. She was just like, hi, hi. And she kept touching her, like,
Yeah.
oh, you're on my side, aren't you? I
Yeah, yeah,
mean, you and I, we're
that's
just
what they're
like,
trying to show. Yeah, we're totally fine. Like Hollywood loves us, so everyone should love us. But I do think like this past year, a lot of people have like woken up like, oh, Hollywood. It is people call it Holly weird for a reason because people found this. If you go through any comment section of like anyone that was posting Blake and Ryan, like any media that was posting it, people were like saying how disappointed they were with SNL. They're like, why would you invite them? Like they are part of what's going on right now. And they're not part of it in a good light because there's a lot of stuff that came out that has shown that they're lying. And it seems like they're trying to take someone down just to get, it starts with us. The right sit starts with us, in my opinion. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't think it was a smart move, but
No,
I
that's what
don't
I'm thinking too. And I'm wondering, I've been speculating in this because there's not been many jokes out there in late night shows or SNL. No one made fun of this situation except Chelsea Handler at the Critics' Choice
yeah.
Award. But I'm wondering if they had kind of a deal here saying, like, okay, you show up, your first public appearance will be on SNL, because of course they got a lot more ratings
Of
because of it.
course.
And we won't make any jokes about you. And you are able to do whatever you want yourself about the situation. Do you think that makes sense?
I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like that definitely could be a thing because even like they were walking the red carpet, no one was like asking them questions about like the current situation, which I mean, that is the top question on anyone's mind.
Did
Like,
they actually, were they interviewed on the red carpet? I didn't even see
I don't know
them.
if they were interviewed, but like people always like shout out stuff and whatnot. But I saw a clip. It was actually last night that I saw it. That when it was the It Ends With Us premiere, I think it was in London. There was one of the interviewers that was talking about it, and she said like we were told we're not allowed to ask Blake about Justin Baldoni, and we're not allowed to ask Blake about any like domestic violence. We're supposed to keep it light, even though the movie, the book, that is the theme of it. So it's like, what? And it's just like they kind of, it just shows the control they have. And that's, I think you're onto something for sure. SNL, a lot of media, like they don't care if it's bad publicity or good publicity. Because think of it, everyone was talking about it last night. No one was covering, oh, people's outfits, whatever. No, we were talking about Blake and Ryan, not in the best light, but we were talking about it. And that's bringing up SNL. So to them, yeah, that's probably all they cared about. And of course, Blake and Ryan are like, yeah, that's like the perfect deal. Why would we not do that? But
Yeah.
just, I think it just shows like, I don't think they really, maybe they don't interpret like a normal person's opinion, like how we would look at that, because they are so like, I mean, I do think like Ryan and Blake are narcissists. So in their head, they probably think anything they do is like hunky dory. But I don't think they sit and are like, oh, how would this look to someone? Like, we're literally in the middle of these lawsuits. We definitely put out some lies out there, but let's just go and smile, wear our florals. It's just like, it's acting. It's honestly one of their best acts yet, I would say.
And the thing is, if they have a PR, I mean, they do have a PR company, but how can any PR company, suggest that they would do something like this? This is just
Right?
like the worst advice ever, to
I know.
show up like this, pretending like nothing happened. If they want sympathy or empathy from people, this is the worst.
The worst. I don't understand. Their
Oh,
PR people, I don't know, maybe they're like out to get them, but it's not working. I'm just like, what are they doing? Like, it's just very, I think like the one thing it might have helped them with, because I know there's been like divorce rumors about them, like on these like celebrity blind websites and like the pages I've seen. I mean, there have been divorce rumors about them before in the past. I've seen them. I've never covered them because it's always been a blind item. Like people were saying they're living separately, so this would show like they're united or whatever. But still, like I don't even think people really care about that as much.
no, people really
Like
don't
we care
care.
about the lawsuit and the fact that you guys are lying. Like I could care
Yeah.
less if you get a divorce,
We
to be
don't
honest.
care if you're happy together. Not at
No.
all. No. Oh my God. They're so tone deaf, everything that they do now. And I was like, this morning, I was just laughing so much reading through, because everything in my Instagram feed was about last night on
Yep.
SNL.
I
And
know.
like the comment sections on these posts are
I
just
know.
so hilarious. And I couldn't see any support for them.
No,
But
the comments
anyways,
did not disappoint.
yeah. But anyways, we have to talk about these new allegations, because I saw in my comment section on YouTube, people like, why aren't you covering these new allegations that came out? I didn't receive any tips about this, which I also find like interesting. But how did you come upon these new allegations, and what are they about? I mean,
So
you've done a little dig
yeah.
into it.
So I got a DM. It was like I would say 2 days ago, but they sent me them yesterday morning, and this person was like, "Hey, just so you know," like they told me like, "Hey, like I've been following like your coverage of this, but I want you to know like Ryan is not awful, and like Blake is telling the truth, and Justin's like really bad." Like that's basically what they told me, and I was like, "Oh, why do you say that?" And they're like, there were 3 HR complaints that were filed against Justin, and she told me like they were sent to me. And I asked her, I was like, what do you mean they were sent to you? Like, who sent these to you? Like the HR person?
Yeah.
She wouldn't answer that question, which was odd to me. I'm like, how do you have these? She's not connected to Blake and Ryan that I know of. But, anyways, I asked her to send them. She sent them. And in these complaints, like, the name is crossed out, the date is crossed out. Like, you don't have the real info, but it's really interesting because each one of these 3 complaints were sent to Sony, but not Wayfarer. So Sony was sent these HR complaints allegedly. And so the first one is most likely about Blake Lively. If you read it, you could tell. So it's about Blake's driver kicking out Justin Baldoni from their car ride or whatnot because he made everyone feel uncomfortable. He was talking about his porn addiction. And then he was also talking about how he has never like asked a woman for consent or something like that. So he kicks him out. But what they also said was that on the car dash camera, they got the footage of this. If you have the footage of this, why is it not included in the lawsuit? Like that is, if I saw that, I'd be like, wow, like okay, you got something,
Yeah.
but we don't have it. Anyways, the second one, most likely, I would say about Jenny Slate, because if you go through the Blake's lawsuit, it says somewhere that like he had made a comment about Jenny Slate's butt or something like that. In it, it says in this allegation or complaint, HR complaint, it says that Justin touched one of the actresses, another actress's butt, and made her feel uncomfortable. She told him like that makes me feel uncomfortable. He told her we'll take it to HR. And allegedly she took it to HR, and 3 hours later, Justin Baldoni apologized to her. And apparently, like Blake saw some of this or whatnot, the way they made it sound. And then the third and final HR complaint is who I would guess is Isabella Ferrer, I think the last name is, who plays young Lily. And it says that there was a scene where I don't know, like I'm guessing it's the scene between her and young Atlas when they were like having sex for the first time because he asked her like, have you ever climaxed on camera? And she told him, no, but why does that matter? Like, that's not in the script. He whispers in her ear, Justin Baldoni, allegedly, saying maybe we should put it in the script. And then it sounds like him, like he is helping her practice and whatnot. And she didn't want to do it. She said she was uncomfortable, but he said, if you don't do it, like, you're gonna, like, basically give her no choice. She felt pressured, allegedly. So they are practicing. He touches her thighs and says, you could do better and whatnot. And then he's like whispering, and they say, like, his he was so close to her face, like her makeup was like misting off because of his like warm breath or whatnot. It was very, when you read it, I'm like, I feel like I'm reading someone that's like writing fan fiction or something. Like, it's so, I'm like, and just the way that like, he said this, I'm like, I can't even imagine him saying it, to be honest. Like, it's just so out of this world. But the weirdest thing, so the fact that they were all sent to Sony, all three of these HR complaints, you would think like, oh, so these HR complaints are sent to Sony and they did nothing about it. That's odd. So why would Blake and Ryan be suing Wayfarer but not Sony? They don't sue Sony in their lawsuit. And also, Sony back in August, they literally went on record with Variety saying there were no HR complaints against Justin Baldoni from It Ends With Us. So it just seems like, I think they're made up. I think I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I really thought one of the other actresses would come out and say like something happened to her. I feel like Justin and Blake maybe tried. Sorry, hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, I think you're so right with what you're saying with Sony. And I was thinking, who leaked this? So either it must have been Sony, who was the only like entity who had the access to this, or someone leaked it before it, or because they were planning their just draft.
they barely ever bark. In the moment I get on a meeting, oh, that's when they're like, time to shine.
They're so engaged in this too. They're breathing.
Oh yeah, they're like
Ryan and Justin.
But yeah, I just feel like I definitely think it was leaked from, I don't know who exactly would leak it. Is it their PR? Is it so, I don't know. But
I
don't know
up.
what they thought. Yeah, like I don't know what they thought was going to happen with this, especially the fact that you're not giving names, you're not giving like the dates. And it's weird, like they wouldn't give a name, because you would think if this is an HR complaint, Justin Baldoni would have been made aware of it. HR would pull him in. Like, and imagine, so there's these three like really serious allegations, complaints about him, and HR is doing nothing, and these people keep acting with him. Like, he's their director and also fellow actor. So you guys are just fine with it, and this all doesn't come out until years later. Like, this is years later after filming. It just seems like nothing is adding up. And I really think, because I remember hearing, and again, this is alleged because no one really knows, in the contract between Colleen and Justin, when it was like, because he got the rights to It Starts With Us, like it's his basically. Apparently, someone said they knew this. This was like on Reddit, I think, but they said the only way to like break that contract was that if he was like accused or like criminally accused of something horrible, like sexual harassment would have been one of them or whatnot. Like, and it just seems odd that this is all coming out now. And we've learned like Blake took over the movie. We saw Blake's movie. We didn't see Justin Baldoni's movie, which is also crazy. Like, I sit and question Sony, and I'm like, why was this allowed? Like, so many things. Like, why was he put in the basement? Why was she allowed to go into the editing bay for 11 days? Like, it's just odd to me. I'm just like, but it shows the power that Blake and Ryan really have. Like, it's crazy.
It really is. And it gets worse and worse. And I'm like thinking, like you were saying, was this a planned kind of, that they planted this just before they were going on to SNL?
Yeah, I can't help but wonder, because like some people were saying like TMZ got it, Daily Mail, like these outlets that tend to report stuff a lot of times that aren't even true. Like, they report like TMZ report anything, they wouldn't even report it. Like, that's how much, like, they probably didn't believe it, because who would look at this and believe it? And also, they don't want to be sued for defamation, because that's obviously like, just like, if I were Justin Baldoni and I saw outlets just putting this out like fake news, of course you could sue them.
Yeah.
But I think like, so since none of them would report it and get the ball rolling, that's when they're like, let's reach out to these big like TikTok creators that are covering it, because they're going to want to like put this out there. And I remember, I think it was one of my friends on TikTok, I think she covered it first like yesterday morning. Her name is Dana, and because she does like a YouTube as well. So she was saying how she had gotten these
Daily Dose with Dana.
Yeah.
She's been on here as well.
Yeah. She got the HR complaints and whatnot. And then a bunch of people were like tagging me. And I was going to talk about it, but I was like, I don't even believe this. I don't even want to bring it up, was my first thought. But then I was like, whatever, like I'll just tell people what my thoughts are on it. And so everyone was talking about it yesterday morning. It's just really coincidental. Then that night they're at the SNL 50. I think they thought people would like buy into it. But that's why I'm like, they must think we're really stupid. Like, I mean, come on. We're not gonna buy into that. It's kind of sad that that's what they think of us, but whatever.
I know, but then I think like the general public don't really buy into it. But
No, no,
like you're saying, but that's the way they look at us.
yeah,
You had to,
they want us show like I think they think if they show that Hollywood is on their side that they'll win people over. Like, oh look at we're like with the elites, they're all laughing at our jokes. We're talking to Amy, we're talking to whoever else, and it's just
Chevy
all
Chase took a photo
yeah,
with them.
yeah, photo. It's all just an act. It's like it's kind of crazy, honestly.
It's
It's
so
just kind of
dumb.
crazy because like I just couldn't imagine Justin Baldoni doing that. First off, I couldn't imagine him doing that. He's like in Hawaii surfing. Good for him. That's what I'd be doing too.
Yeah.
But but like if he did that, how people would frown upon him and be like, "Oh, he's a monster." So it's
Yeah.
just like it bothers me, but whatever.
Yeah, it does. So I saw some of your other intelligence from your Instagram, which I reported on in one of my other episodes. You deep dive into WME, exploring all these other talents that are still on, they're still represented by WME. And then Ari Emanuel, which I saw you just did a video on, which was shocking to me. Can you talk about the? Yeah, I mean, he was accused of SH by someone, and
Yeah, so
he settled.
yeah, in 2002. So this was like so long ago. So honestly, it like randomly came up on Google. It didn't come up very quickly, like when I was searching for it, but he was accused of, and I think it was all within the workplace wherever he was working at the time, harassment and also like racist remarks and homophobic remarks. And yeah, like I said, he didn't like they didn't dismiss it. He settled. He paid because obviously, whenever someone settles, you're like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
that's not the best thing, obviously. But then just like his track record, like with people, like apparently he was really close to Diddy, which is not a good sign. Like the fact that you could sit and talk about Justin Baldoni and saying how Blake feels unsafe, but Diddy, who there's not one article saying that WME dropped Diddy. He was signed 3 years ago, and like they represent everything of his as of like 3 years ago. And I mean, that's like the worst of the worst. Like, I don't really know. But then there's these allegations against Justin, which are not proven true. And right away, you just drop him the moment like there's a legal complaint filed. That's just really odd and strange behavior. But he said it. Ari Emanuel said, those are my ride or dies. Oh, so you are just going based off like who you're friends with, who you're closest with, and you'll just drop someone else. But then there's all these people on their roster that have literally been accused of sexual assault or sexual harassment and they're still sitting there. So it's just like such a double standard. And it just shows like Justin to them was probably lower on their like totem pole. Like,
Of
Ryan and Blake
course.
probably
Yeah.
they're gonna go with Ryan and Blake. But then there's also like there was Terry Crews who was who was part of WME. He was signed to them and he was sexually assaulted by one of the agents and he went specifically to Ari Emanuel and he told him about this and Ari basically told him like it's gonna be like 30 days, he's gonna make a lot of money and like what if we give you that money basically we could like sweep this under the rug. And Terry was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like he literally groped him like on a red carpet or something like that. And I was just like the fact that they're just like, we'll just give you money and you can just shut up about it. And they know they're fully aware of it. Then he took them to court and then they settled. And part of that was the agent resigning and whatnot. But it just shows the type of people they are. And it just shows like you're a hypocrite. And that Ryan and Blake again just have all this power and it's actually insane.
And it's like a pattern. I know, I think, I don't know, because they dropped him so quickly. I think it was just a couple of hours. I think that they had already planned this.
Oh yeah.
So he knew that that article was coming out, and they already planned with Ryan or Blake that we'll drop him a couple of hours later, and then it would just like be a mass, reaction to this. I don't know.
That's what I think. Like I think Blake and Ryan had so many things planned. Like the New York Times article, there's all the metadata showing that they were working on it weeks beforehand or days beforehand or whatnot. So like I think they had everything lined up. Like we have New York Times on our side. They're literally gonna put out this article saying all this stuff about Justin Baldoni. He's gonna look so bad. No one's gonna like him. And then we have whatever WME who's gonna drop him. That's huge, and that's gonna show like, oh, he's wrong, we're right. Like they thought they had this all set up, which I just didn't know. I just don't understand though, because like, did they not think they just thought he would be like, okay, say all this stuff about me, ruin my career, ruin my reputation. I'll just sit here while I sit here and have evidence. Like, of course I'm going to sue you. But like, I just don't know what they thought was going to happen. They really think they're that powerful, though. That's the thing. They thought like he's not gonna do anything, which I'm glad he fought back because
Yeah, oh my
honestly,
God.
like I'm not glad that this happened to him because this is horrible. I cannot imagine like the stress of this all on his life. Very sad and horrible. And when you just like I hear like he's in the basement of his film that he directed, and then he was in the hospital like towards the end of it when they're taking over the whole film. I'm like, this is so depressing, so messed up. But we didn't even see his cut at the end. I'm like, I want to see his cut because when I watched It Ends With Us, because I watched it with like two of my girlfriends, and I told them because I don't like they were like, oh no, it was so good. I was like, really? I was like, I don't know. I anytime I read a book, I always know the book's gonna be better than the movie. It's hard for a movie to trump a book for me because in a book I'm imagining it, so my imagination is like top notch in my head. But I was like, oh, like that wasn't it. Like that movie was like kind of disappointing, you know? I would love to see Justin's, version, but I don't know if we ever will. But I'm glad he's not just settling because like they're more powerful because I think that's the way they get everything. That's the way they got the co-stars on their side, Colleen Hoover on their side because they make these promises. They have these really high up friends. Ryan Reynolds is pretty like high up in, the celebrity world, but yeah, it's just so disappointing to because I used to love literally the month that they started doing press, I think it was probably like the beginning of August. I have a video, and I always remember this because it was like weeks after where everything like changed. I have a video where they were so it was Ryan, Blake, and was Brandon Sklenar. They're taking a photo on the red carpet, and Blake goes out of her way to grab Brandon's girlfriend to bring her in. And I was like, this is like so nice to see like girl power. Look at them, like they're including Brandon and his girlfriend. And I'm like, wow, like because I used to love them as a couple. I'm like, they're so cute. And now when I look at them and I read everything, I'm like, this is so disappointing. But that happens a lot,
Oh,
like with pop culture, so it's fine.
it does. I've interviewed so many celebrities, and
I can imagine.
some of them is just like, oh no,
Yeah,
you
that's why they
know.
say don't meet your heroes.
Totally. So to wrap this up a little bit, tomorrow is the big day because Blake is filing her amended complaint. What do you think? Like random guesses, what's going to be in there? Do you think there's going to be anything new in there?
I mean, I really, unless it's something new that it just is not, because this is the thing. We know that they subpoenaed 15 phones and they want all this information from 2.5 years, which is so crazy. They want location data, which I'm like, okay, is this like a true crime? Why do you need their location data? Very odd to me. I'm just like, that's where I sat and thought like, wow, they have nothing. This is why they're scrambling. They need like all this stuff. So obviously that's not going to be included in that because I don't think they've been granted that yet. But I think if anything's in it, maybe they get a few more like text messages. I'm not sure. I mean, we've seen so much already that like from Justin's side that I don't know what else they're going to give us. And I sit and wonder, would they have ever amended their lawsuit if Justin didn't do his? Probably not, because I don't think they have much more unless they had got someone to maybe like tell a lie or something. But I don't even know if they got that, to be honest. Because
No, and I think that yeah, I think that's why they wanted it to get it what do you call it? Extended
yeah,
because they didn't have
they
anything.
didn't have any. Yeah, they wanted to like March something.
Yeah, and with these like new allegations leaked, they're not going to show up in the lawsuits.
No way. Like those will not hold up.
So then we know they're BS, which is
Yeah.
even worse for them. I mean, everything that they do now is like, who are telling them what to do here? It's just like they just need a new team around them. This is
Like I
horrible.
cannot believe it just blows my mind that like they haven't tried to settle. They're like, yo, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna win. I'm just like, really? Like, I don't it's really crazy to me. But that's what it shows. Like, I'm like, they really think they have all the power. That's what it is. Like they think they're untouchable. And I really kind of can't wait till like that hits them like hard in the face. That's like, nah, they're not
I know.
untouchable.
At least it gives us a lot to talk about. I mean, there's something new.
That is true.
Yeah, so tell everyone where they can find you.
You guys can find me on TikTok, Instagram. It's at Steph with the DA Deets, all one word. And yeah, that's where I cover like everything.
Yes, you guys have to go and watch her. She's amazing. You do such good research. I'll leave links in the description as well to your sites. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming on. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much to Stephanie for being here on Flawsome Talk. I really appreciate her perspective on things. I think we agree on most things. Everything, actually, when it comes to this mess. I am so curious about this amended complaint that is going to be filed tomorrow to see what Blake Lively can come up with against Justin Baldoni, if there's anything new in there. I think the reasons I said with my conversation with Stephanie is that they didn't have anything, and that's why they wanted this extension. Anyways, thank you guys again for all your tips. It's been so amazing to read through all your tips. Some of you guys have really good and interesting information that you're sending me. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being part of this research team that we have here on Flawsome Talk. Thanks for all your amazing comments and your support and your encouragement. I really appreciate it. So yes, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and hit the notification button so you don't miss an episode of Flawsome Talk. And I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.